Mistaken memory based on misinformation, or was Michelle Troconis lying during those lengthy police interrogations? A defense expert takes the stand on day 26 of the high-profile trial. Channel 3 New Haven Bureau Chief Matt McFarland is live outside Stanford Superior Court with those details. Matt.
Well, Aaron, this professor specializes in human memory. She says she's testified in roughly 150 criminal cases over the year, all but one for the defense. It was Professor Elizabeth Loftus on the stand telling jurors that memory fades over time and that if one is preoccupied, stressed, or suffering from sleep deprivation, it will have a negative effect on one's memory. Michelle Troconis' defense team says that's part of what happened with her 3 police interviews. Loftus, who wrote 20 books, including one from 1991 titled Witness for the Defense, went on to say that humans can make mistakes and that being told untrue statements can contaminate one's memory and make them doubt themselves. But she says they're not deliberately lying. But lying is exactly what the state argues Michelle Troconis did in her 3 police interviews, pointing out the inconsistencies and leaving details out.
After some event occurs, sometimes people are exposed to new information. They have conversations with other people. They are interrogated. They are exposed to media coverage. They get new information. And one of the things that we and other scientists have discovered is that that post-event information, particularly if it's misleading, can contaminate or distort or transform somebody's memory.
Now, in cross-examination, the state went after Loftus's theory about those sort of memory lapses. At one point, it got a little heated, a little contested, where the judge calling for a recess, saying things were getting unhinged. We'll have that part of the story coming up at 6. We're live at the mobile newsroom at Stanford Superior Court. Matt McFarland, Channel 3 Eyewitness News.
Matt,